This is the second part of a video that I did. The first part was on what is the minimum wage. This part is going to be on what is a living wage. We're going to go through a lot of interpretations on what that might be, but let's start at the top and let's use the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Let's use their definition on what a living wage is. To them, a living wage is a real wage versus a nominal wage. A nominal wage is a wage you get without inflation involved. A real wage is the wage you get with inflation involved. So the OECD looks at prosperity, they look at equality, they look at well-beingness, and they look at a number of countries to see how they rank when it comes to what is their definition of a living wage. In the United States, we have something called the Economic Policy Institute. I shouldn't say United States, but it's a global initiative as well. But they use something called a family budget calculator, where what they do to figure out living wage is they take into effect the number of children you have, obviously. They take into effect the cost of housing, food, healthcare, taxes, and general being. And the one thing they don't take into effect is government transfers, which is where this really gets muddy. Because not factored in any of the minimum wages are child tax credits, even something as simple as school lunch programs and breakfast programs, women and infant and children programs, TANF programs, SSI, earned income credits. None of these really, except for probably earned income credits, go into the role of defining what is a living wage. There's been in history spiritual things called for living wage, a just wage, a fair wage. It's part of the Catholic religion where Pope Leo and St. Thomas Aquinas talked about what is a just wage. We talked last time about minimum wages. Minimum wages are legal barriers that are set up for wages. There are fair wages, which is associated with a just wage. Then there's the market wage, which is interesting because it works mainly on supply and demand. If there is a lot of workers or if there's a lot of work, it's going to dictate how much the workers get. Some places use something called subsistence wages, which is exactly what the word implies. It's a minimal form of living. As I said, in the U.S., we have many ways we calculate living wages. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology has a method it uses. We talked about the EPI and the family size and things of that nature. There's also another way that living wages are calculated globally. It's called the anchor reference value, which polls about 40 different countries. It looks at the country being rural, urban. It looks at food, healthcare, childcare, housing, transportation, civic engagement, just broadband, things of that nature, and it calculates a living wage from that. just an example of what, let's say, MIT came up with, which I mentioned before. MIT takes into case where you're living, you know, the geography in the United States, and it says for a family of 4 with 2 adults and 2 kids, a minimum living wage is $50 an hour. For a family of 3 with 2 adults and 1 child, it's $34 an hour. And for a family of 1, family of 1 adult, $18.66 an hour. You know, I don't know how they come to these numbers. I mean, it is MIT, you know, so I'll give them that. But they just don't seem practical. From my opinion, of all these, I prefer the market wage. It gives the employee some power in negotiation, but then the downside is it also gives the employer some leverage in the situation. We're going to be doing another video pretty soon, again, comparing comparing wages throughout the world. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe and help support the channel. And have a great day. Bye.